Good day everyone. So for this video, we will be discussing the standard normal distribution. So specifically, this will be our topics. Number one, what is a normal distribution? Number two, what is a standard normal distribution? And lastly, we have finding areas under the curve. So what is a normal distribution? By definition, a continuous random variable has an infinite number of possible values that can be represented by an interval on the number line. Okay? So dito sa ating term, we have the word na continuous. So ano ang ibig sabihin ng continuous? Okay, that is tuloy-tuloy. Okay? So, tuloy-tuloy, ibig sabihin yan, any values, whether negative or positive, can be considered as a random variable. Kaya nga sa definition, we have here an infinite number. Okay? So, anong ibig sabihin ng infinite? So, any value yan. Okay? So, infinite number. So, whether negative or positive. So, ibig sabihin yung ating continuous random variable is any number whether negative or positive, basta andun siya sa ating infinite na interval or ating number line. Okay? So, yan, specifically, we have an example here. So, how many hours spent studying in a day? So, the possible values are from 0, hindi nag-aaral, to 24 hours. Okay? Or buong magdamag or buong araw na nag-aaral. So, yung 0 to 24 is a number or an interval na nasa loob ng ating number line. Yung ating number line are negative to positive values. Okay? So, yung ating 0 to 24 is a continuous random variable. Any number in between 0 to 24 is considered as a continuous random variable. Okay? Because that is part of our interval, which is part of the number line na may infinite values which are either negative or positive. Okay, so the probability distribution of a continuous random variable is called as a continuous probability distribution. So yung ating example dyan is only a number line. Okay, what if we convert that one into a probability distribution? So ang tawag doon is a continuous probability distribution. Okay, and one example of that is the normal distribution. Okay, so sa lahat ng mga probability distribution, the normal distribution is the most important and the most common one. Okay? So ano ang hitsura ng ating normal distribution? So that's the bell-shaped curve. Okay? So ayan, so that's a perfect na bell shape yung ating normal distribution. Okay? So a normal distribution is a continuous probability distribution for a random variable x. So any random variable x no can be represented by a normal distribution. And the graph of a normal distribution is called as the normal curve. Okay, so ano ang properties ng ating normal distribution? Number one, the mean, median, and mode are equal. Okay? So, yung ating mean, median, and mode are equal. Okay? So, in real sense, that is quite impossible. However, pwede namang sabihin na more or less, no, magkakapareho or equal yung ating mean, median, mode. Okay? So, if we put that in a curve, yung ating mean, median, mode is found on the line of symmetry. Okay? So, since this is our x value, okay, so yung ating value na andito sa line of symmetry, that is the value for the mean, median, and mode na equal. Okay? Kasi pag hindi siya magiging equal, hindi siya magiging symmetrical or maraming points of symmetry yung ating curve. However, pareho yung ating mean, median, and mode. Okay? So, number two property ng normal distribution, the normal curve is bell-shaped. Okay? So, yun nga, bell-shaped and symmetric about the mean. Okay? So, ayan, yun nga sabi kanina, the line of symmetry goes through the mean. Number three, the total area under the curve is equal to 1. Since this is a probability distribution, okay, so yung ating green shade dyan, that is the area. Okay? And area or equivalent ng area na yan is equal to 1 or 100%. Okay? Because that is a probability distribution nga. And ang ating probability value is from 0 to 100% or from 0 to 1. Okay? So yung green area dyan or yung shaded na green dyan, that is equal to 100% or 1 na probability value. Number 4, the normal curve approaches but never touches the x-axis as it extends further and further away from the mean. Okay? So asymptomatic, in other words, yung ating curve. Okay? So it approaches the x but never touches the x. Kumbaga. So hanggang magkakadikit lang sila but it will never touch yung ating x-axis. And last property ng ating normal curve, that is between the mean and minus the standard deviation and the mean plus the standard distribution that is in the center of the curve, the graph curves downward. Okay? So yung ating point kung saan nagka-curve downward, no? Kasi sa point na yan, medyo magbabago na yung ating shape ng curve. Instead of being a continuous one, medyo bababa ng bigla. So that is called as the inflection points. Okay? So assuming ito yung ating curve, that is the normal curve area. So yung ating inflection point is as this point. Okay? Because at this point, medyo nagkaroon ng slight na change in direction yung ating curve. Okay? Instead of totally going down, medyo naging less slopey yung ating curve. Okay? So ang tawag dun is the normal or the inflection points. And the total area nga ng ating buong probability distribution is equal to 1 or that is 100% yung ating green na area dyan. Okay, so yan, where do we find the mean and the standard deviation? Okay, so a normal distribution can have any mean and any positive na standard deviation. Okay, so by definition, yung ating mean is the average and this is the measure of central location or the central tendency. So kung saan yung gitna ng ating distribution, dun makikita yung ating mean. Ang standard deviation naman is the measure of the spread. Gaano kalawak or kalapad or ka-narrow yung ating distribution or yung spread. Gaano kalat or kadikit-dikit yung ating mga data. Okay? So halimbawa, for that one, so we have a very small distribution or medyo narrow yung shape ng ating distribution. For that one, yung kanyang mean is 3.5 because if we look at the line of symmetry, andun siya sa 3.5 na value. Okay, ang kanyang standard distribution, a standard deviation is only 1.3. Okay? So magkakadikit-dikit yung ating data because maliit lang yung value ng standard deviation. Okay? So on the other side naman ng ating presentation, so we have a graph na medyo shorter, however, wider naman yung kanyang curve. Okay? So, ang kanyang mean is nasa 6. So, we can see the line of symmetry is found at the 6 na value. Ang kanyang standard deviation is 1.9. So, this is greater than or mas malaki sa 1.3. So, ibig sabihin, since malaki yung ating standard deviation, mas malaki din yung spread or mas makalat yung ating data. So that's why sa ating distribution, mas malapad yung ating curve compared with the first example. Okay? So ganyan yung ating standard deviation. It measures kung gaano ka clustered or ka widespread yung ating data. Okay? So ayan, short example lang or exercise. So number 1, which of the two curve has the greater mean? And second question, which curve has the greater standard deviation? Okay? So yung ating A na curve is mas mataas, mas matangkad ang curve, pero mas manipis. Yung ating B na curve naman, mas mababa, shorter, but wider naman yung kanyang width, no? Or mas malapad yung ating curve. So, saan dyan ang greater ang mean? So, we only have to look at their line of symmetry. Okay? So, it's obvious ng ating curve A, ang line of symmetry niya is nasa number 5. Ang B naman, ang kanyang line of symmetry is nasa number 9. So, ibig sabihin, yung ating A, ang mean niya is 5, at ang ating B naman, ang mean niya is ang 9. So therefore, yung ating B ang merong greater na mean. Sa standard deviation naman, yung measure ng gaano kalawak. Okay, and it is quite obvious, mas malapad ang B, therefore siya yung mas malaki ang standard deviation. Okay, so yung ating curve B is more spread out than A. So ibig sabihin si B ang mas malaki or greater ang kanyang standard deviation. Okay, so that's how we look at the normal distribution. So we just look kung saan ang line of symmetry, yun ang kanyang mean. And if we observe yung spread or yung pagkakalat or gaano kanipis or kalapad yung ating curve, that measures naman yung kanyang standard deviation. Okay. The standard normal distribution is a normal distribution with a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. Okay? So, meron siyang mean na 0, ang kanyang standard deviation is 1. So, this is how a standard normal distribution looks like. So, hindi siya yung usual na normal probability distribution. Instead, naging standard siya. Kumbaga, yung ating value na x, it is being converted into a new scale versus yung ating z na scale. Okay? So if we observe sa ating curve, yung ating mean kanina, which is yung ating line of symmetry, instead na value of mean, naging 0. Okay? And if we go right, yung values niyan is positive. So positive z values of 1, 2, 3. Going left are negative values naman of z. So yun, ang nangyari is we transform our random variable or yung ating original data into z values or z scores. Okay? So paano? That is yung value or the random variable minus the mean over the standard deviation. Okay? Kaya kung 0, kaya nga sa mean, no, 0 yung kanyang z score because if we put the value of mean dito sa x, so that is mean minus mean will be equal to 0. Okay? So kaya nga, yung ating z-score na 0 is the mean. Okay? So, ayan. Okay? So, if we go to the right, these values are greater than the mean. Okay? So, kung greater than the mean, so magiging positive na z-scores naman sila. Going left, these are values na less than the mean. So, that's why magiging negative because value minus the mean, whereas yung ating mean is less than, ang value is less than the mean, so that's why magiging negative yung result. Okay? So that's how a standard normal distribution looks like. Sa 0 ang line of symmetry niya, positive z-score going to the right and negative z-scores going to the left. Still bell-shaped yung ating curve. Bell-shaped and symmetrical. Okay? So yan, if each data value of a normally distributed random variable x is transformed into a z-score, or the result will be the standard normal distribution. Okay, so yun nga ulit, no? That's how our standard normal distribution looks like. 0 in the line of symmetry and positive value of z-scores to the right, negative values of z-score to the left. Okay, so specifically these are the properties of our standard normal distribution. Number 1, the cumulative area is close to 0 for z-scores close to negative 3.49. Okay? So yung ating negative 3.49 is nandito na side and ang values, the area for that one is close to 0. Because yung ating area will be counted from the right side papuntang, from the left side papuntang right side. Okay? So parang naging starting point yung ating negative 3.49. So that's why in this part, yung ating area is close to 0. Okay? Ulitin natin yung ating area is the shaded part. Okay? So that is the area under the curve. Because this is a probability distribution. Okay? So yung area is the shaded part or the area under the curve. The second property is the cumulative area increases as the z-scores increase. Okay? So yun nga, as we increase the z-score from negative 3 hanggang 0, 1, 2, 3, So nag-i-increase yung kanyang area because as we can see, we also increase the cumulative, this is cumulative or the total area. So nag-i-increase yung cumulative amount of area or yung ating shaded na part of the curve. The cumulative area for z is equal to 0 is 0.5. Okay? Since ating 0 is the line of symmetry, so ibig sabihin yan, half of the curve is equal to 0.5 because ang buong area natin or ating buong normal curve is equal to 1. Okay? So yung ating left na half is 0.5, that is from the line of symmetry. And then yung sa right naman is also the same. Okay? So yung ating right side is also equal to 0.5. And lastly, yung ating fourth na property, the cumulative area is close to 1 for z-score na close to 3.49. So our 3.49 value is nasa rightmost na area. So kung yan yung ating value ng z-score, the area or the cumulative area or the total area, yung ating shaded na area of the curve, that is equal or close to 1 or that is 100% nga kasi probability value siya. Okay? So yung ating curve, no, mahirap magbasa ng mga values or mag-measure ng area using the curve. So that's why we have the normal curve area na table. So this is one version of the table. Iba-ibang books have different versions because they have negative values na andun sa table. For this one, wala siyang negative values. Instead, positive values lang siya. And the area measured starts from 0. So, halimbawa, yung ating z-score na 0, that is equal to 0. Kasi nga, wala pang value. Okay? So, assuming we have a z-score na 0.35. So, 0.35 can be, that is 0.3. Sa taas naman, that is, let's look for the 0.05. Okay? So, these two values, that is 0.35. Okay? So, kung ating z-score is 0.35, ibig sabihin, andito siya na part. This is point or the positive 3.5. Okay? So, yan. So, ano ang ibig sabihin ng green na value dito? Okay? So, under sa intersection ng 0.3 and 0.035, that is the area na equivalent ng ating z-score. Okay? So, anong ibig sabihin ng 0.1368 na yan? If we look at the curve or the ating normal curve, so starting from 0 or starting from the line of symmetry, okay? So, itong area na yan, that is 0.1368. Okay? From 0 up to the particular na z-score, that is the area. Okay? From 0 hanggang 0.35, ang area is 0.1368. Okay? That is kung positive value. Kung negative value naman, the same because this is a symmetrical na figure. Okay? So, kung maging negative 0.035 yan, so let's say negative siya, negative 0.35, so symmetrical lang. So, ibig sabihin yan, the same pa rin yung magiging value ng ating area. So, itong area, which I shaded ngayon, that is 0.1368. Okay? So, symmetrical or mirror lang no positive value na area. Okay? So that's why sa ating table, all are positive values. However, yung equivalent na negative values is has the same na area under the curve. Okay? So we just have to read kung ano yung ating mga z-scores. Okay? So yung ating first column are the z-score. And then ang ating first row is also the z-score na second digit ng ating z-score. And the area sa loob ng ating curve, ng ating table are the area, specific area ng ating normal curve. Okay, so let's have more example. Okay, so halimbawa, find the cumulative area that corresponds to a z-score of 2.71. Okay, so let's look for the 2.71 na value. Okay, so yung ating first digit sa decimal place, 2.7. So this is 2.7. And then let's look for the point 0, 1. So this is point 0, 1. Ang intersection nilang dalawa, that is equal to point 04966. If we represent that sa ating curve, okay, so yung ating from 0 papuntang 2.71, the value is 0.4966. Okay, so ito yung nasa table natin. Okay, since yung hinahanap sa problem is cumulative area, pag sinabing cumulative area, that is from the leftmost part ng ating curve hanggang sa specific na z-score. Okay? So sa problem nga, 2.71 ang z-score na binigay. So ang magiging cumulative area is from the leftmost na point papuntang 2.71. Okay? So bakit 0.5? Because this is the property of the curve. Ang half ng ating bell shape is 0.5. Okay? So ang magiging total area or the total cumulative area, that is the area below 2.71, that is 0.5 plus 0.4966, or the total area is 0.9966. And that is almost equal to 1. Okay, so let's have another example dito. Find the cumulative area that corresponds to a z-score of negative 0.25. Ito man negative value. Okay, so we still use the same table. So yung ating 0.25, so let's look for the 0.2 and then 0.05. So their intersection is this value, 0.0987. If we draw that sa ating curve, so this is our negative 0.25. So yung ating area is cumulative area. So yung ating i-measure or ating i-compute is the area to the left ng 0.25. So ang tanong, what is this area? Ayan. Okay? So from the table, no? So yung ating area ng negative 0.25 is 0.98. So this is not the shaded area because this area is galing sa line of symmetry or galing siya sa 0 point. Okay? So from 0 to negative 0.25, the area is 0.0987. Okay? So yung cumulative area is actually itong nasa left niya. Okay? So i-recall lang natin, from 0, ang buong area na yan that is equal to 0.5. So yung ating area or the area below the negative 0.25 is simply the difference ng 0.5 minus the area na nasa table, which is 0.0987. So the answer for that one is 0.4013. Okay, another example, find the area to the left of Z1.23. Okay, so parang similar kanina, area to the left. Okay, so the first thing to do is find the z-score, 1.23, that is 1.2, and let's look for the 0.03. So ang intersection nila is 0.3907. So i-draw natin sa curve. So we have 0.5, yung half ng ating curve from 0. And then from 0 to positive 1.23 is 0.3907. So we simply add the two values. So the answer is 0.8907. Okay, ito naman, find the area to the right. Kanina to the left, this time to the right. So still the same value na 1.23. So ang intersection ng ating 1.2 and 0.03 is 0.3907. So if we draw that sa ating curve, nasa right. Okay, kanina nasa left, this time nasa right. So ang tanong, what is that area? Okay, so sa table, yung area natin from 0 to 1.23 is 0.3907. So ano ang area na yan? That is simply the difference ng half ng curve, which is 0.5, minus the tabular value na 0.3907. So the difference of which is 0.1093. So that is the area to the right of Z1.23. Okay, so ito dalawang values. Find the area between negative 0.75 and 1.23. So let's look for the values dyan sa table. So I leave that sa inyo to find sa table. But this will be our curve, no? So we have negative 0.75 and positive 1.23. So yan, we simply have to add the two probability areas, okay, the P1 and P2. Okay, so yan, okay, so yung ating area is ang P1, yung ating red, is equivalent sa area na greater than negative 0.75. Ang P2 naman, the blue one, is equivalent to the area ng Z less than 1.24. Okay? So looking sa ating tabular values, so yung area from 0 to negative 0.75 is 0.2734. Ang area naman from 0 to 1.23 is 0.3907. So the total for the two is 0.6641. Okay, so another one. Okay, ito naman dalawang positive values, 1.15 and 1.23. Okay? So hindi sila galing, no, or I mean yung ating area hindi naka-base sa 0. Instead, that is the naka-base siya sa dalawang positive values of z. Okay? So paano siya? That is simply the difference, no? Difference ng area ng 1.23 and 1.15. Parang nakapatong siya. Meron munang 1.23 and then nakapatong yung 1.15. So yung difference ng dalawa, that is the actual area between the two z-scores. Okay? So that's why we have P2, yung kasing sa 1.23, minus the P1 sa 1.15 na tabular values. Or that is equal to 0.3907 minus 0.3749 is equal to 0.0158. Okay? So yun, those are our discussions sa standard normal distribution and how to find areas under the curve. So in our next videos, we will be applying the standard normal distribution sa testing of means.